with Brad Tapke coming on in that 4 o'clock hour.
That is, I'm very happy to have him on, especially after we had Jamie Long, the Democratic Majority Leader, join us yesterday and talk about the Republican attempted coup here in the state of Minnesota. And it is. That's exactly what it is. It is a coup. It is. It's funny. I've got a lot of that coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour, but we've got a lot of other things we need to get to. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. Is it just me or am I mean, okay, it isn't just me. So I'm trying to open a bottle of freaking Head & Shoulders shampoo. It's one of those pump jobbers, man. It's like I couldn't figure out how to open the damn thing. And I'm like, I say to myself, okay, am I missing something here? It's one of those, okay, so like a pump bottle, like a lotion or anything like that. Oh, Lord knows I know the lotions. But you got a pump bottle with one of those things. You just basically turn it a little bit and the thing pops up and all of a sudden, magic time. What is with Head & Shoulders, man, that they have decided to make this the most difficult process ever? There are videos online showing you how to do it. Apparently, it's not me. Because I don't think there are videos online of how do you open a box of soap. I don't think that those, maybe they do. I don't know. I don't want to necessarily check. I don't want to be discouraged by 50 million views. Really? But apparently maybe there is some. I finally basically gave up.
Oh, I'm thinking you should be bringing this into the studio and trying to open it on air during a segment, and that can be our entertainment.
Do you know how much shampoo would be all over this thing? It would. It's bad enough. I mean, I've got one of those minds where I'm the dog from Up. What? Squirrel? That sort of thing. I mean, me trying to open this thing up. I mean, it'd be basically I'd be swearing by about 5 minutes into the show.
Be in the dump button a lot.
Oh yeah, it'd be.
Make some entertaining content, at least for the video portion of it. On
well,
YouTube,
I mean, maybe we should. Matt tries to tackle a Head & Shoulders bottle. What is with you guys, Head & Shoulders? All right. If your bottle is this difficult to open, I'll go with my scalp condition. Okay, I just out of the sanity of everybody I know. I mean, me weeping in the shower, as the shower water falls on top of me as I'm crumpled on the floor of the shower with a Head & Shoulders bottle in my hands crying. That's not exactly the day I want to have. I do not want to have that day. Thankfully, my hair, as everyone knows, is lush and full. I'm at the point where I basically can just use a bar of soap. I mean, really, I am. I mean, there's nothing there. I mean, I'm Skinner from the X-Files at this point. Well, no, I mean, he looked good. I mean, he let's be honest, tall glass of water, but I have one of those alien heads, but I mean, still, attractive. I mean, it's, if you want to know the truth, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. No, I did not get it open.
Wow.
I did not get it open.
Reason to bring it in. Our new segment, What Will Matt Open? Or maybe What Can Matt Open?
Matt tackles basic tasks. Here's Matt with a can opener. Ow! Oh God, you don't want to know the reason I wear t-shirts all the time.
Like you do zip ties with no knives.
Oh gosh, yeah, give me a knife. The reason I wear t-shirts is because everything I do is messy. Everything I do is messy. Speaking of which, Iowa. Okay, I have no idea why that's why. Speaking of which, I got to have a little talk here with Iowa and Indiana because. Okay, now, if you're in Illinois, if you're in Minnesota right now, you know what I'm about to get into. Washington, Seattle, guys. You'll just sit back, relax. You'll enjoy this. So they're trolling their neighboring states. They're trolling their neighboring states by basically saying that they'll take part of the state and just basically take the counties that are Trump counties and won't put them in with us. Now, I want to start by talking about this. Actually happened in Minnesota about 10 years ago. We had an idiot representative basically say he wanted to cede the western 2/3 of the state to South Dakota. And is like, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to leave. Now, what he didn't factor in is that basically every county he wanted to take with him takes more state money than puts into the state coffers. The Twin Cities metro area basically subsidizes 95% of the state of Minnesota. It really does. What is it, 7-county metro area? If not for them, they wouldn't have budgets. And so they wanted to go to South Dakota, where, funny story, it was going to be just a smidge of a cut. As a matter of fact, this concern even Republicans out in rural Minnesota so much that city managers and county managers came scrambling back to Minnesota, to the state capitol, and we're saying, no. We really appreciate the extra money that the capital, the Twin Cities gives us. We are not complaining. We are completely in disagreement with seating going to South Dakota, because they would have had to cut their budgets like by 30-40%. Well, now we're back again, and and because Indiana and Iowa have inferiority complexes to the far superior states of Illinois and Minnesota, hey, facts are facts, dude. You guys basically are trying to own you. So here it is. A Republican Iowa senator wants to make Minnesota Iowa again by introducing a bill that will allow Iowa to buy 9 southern Minnesota counties, basically the 9 counties on the southern border of the state. Some guy named Mike Buselot from Ankeny announced the proposal to enter the negotiations with Iowa's northern neighbor on Tuesday to remarks at the Land Investment Expo. The text of Buselot's bill did not appear online Tuesday afternoon, but he said the proposal has support from colleagues in the Iowa House and Senate. Funny story, you're not going to get it. Trust me, they've already been down this path. I can already see the engines of the cars of the city attorney, city managers and county managers come. No, don't let us go down there. This is something we can grow Iowa, Buselot said in remarks to the Land Investment Expo. We can get more investment into farmland, hog buildings, and all sorts of agricultural investment. Minnesota can get the cash they need to operate the state in a very different way, which we go about it. Basically, no, we don't need we have a projected deficit, but we're still running in a budget surplus right now. So, no. Buselot said with Iowa's budget surplus and anticipated budget deficit in Minnesota's future, the conservative politics of the counties of Minnesota's southern band, the purchase would make sense for all parties. I thought Austin was fairly Democrat down there, where spam comes from. I'm pretty sure it is. It's about 180,000 people on the southern border. It's the counties of Rock, Nobles, Jackson, Martin, Faribault, Freeburg, Mower, Fillmore, and Houston counties. Also, I should mention at the same time, House Bill 1008, it was unveiled on Tuesday in Indiana by House Speaker Todd Hudson, a Republican for Fishers, would create a so-called Indiana-Illinois Boundary Adjustment Commission with the goal of embracing Illinois counties that want to join low-tax, low-cost Indiana. The House Republicans have included in the bill on a list of their top priorities of the 2025 session, which specifically noted that dozens of counties in Illinois have voted since 2020 to secede from their higher tax state. The actual language of the bill is unclear, has been posted yet. Okay, so this is clearly just trolling. I mean, that's all it is. Because you want to purchase, I'll just go with Minnesota. You want to purchase 9 counties in Minnesota? You want to do that. Okay, you do realize in the 9 counties you've said in the state of Minnesota, you have 6 state parks, which you are going to have to pay the state of. You're not just going to take those. Then there's all the state roads and the state infrastructure, the state management lands that are out there that are not state parks that you're going to have to pay for, let alone then basically, because you're going to have to pay for that. There is the whole point of this for them is they're posturing, because if they were serious, they clearly are grossly undervaluing the land that they want to get their hands on for reasons. They don't understand what they're asking they want to do. Those 6 state parks alone, probably $500 million, probably $500 million, just for those 6 state parks. All the state highways, the state infrastructure, you're going to have to pay for all that. You might have a budget surplus, but I don't think you have a 10 to $15 billion budget surplus. You can just go waste around on buying counties, which Minnesota is not going to want to give up. But as well, I don't know even if, once again, when confronted with this, it's really easy for right-wing Republicans in these districts to talk about, oh, you people in your liberal state stealing all our taxpayer dollars and we're subsidizing the inner city. And the reality is it's quite the opposite. The cities subsidize your rural county cabooses. In Iowa, the numbers I found were you'd have to take a dramatic cut already in each one of those counties if you went and joined Iowa. That the state aid that you get from Minnesota is about 8 to 15 points higher than you're going to get from Iowa, which is a pretty substantial budget cut, let alone on top of they're going to have to pay for it. But then I'll go with Pritzker, because Pritzker had a really good line. He responded, and this is from Heartland Signal. They responded to the Indiana General Assembly considering a bill to encourage Illinois counties to secede. Well, it's a stunt. Indiana is a low-wage state that does not protect workers, does not provide health care for people, and when they're in need, I don't think it's very attractive for anyone that in Illinois. Hey, if you want to go to Iowa, you want to go to Indiana, knock yourself out. U-Haul has got offices in pretty much every town. Load up your house, move off, bon voyage. You'll be happier, we'll be happier. But I guarantee you there's a lot of Republicans in these counties which you think you can just peel on off and take without paying for them. You're going to have to pay for the state lands and stuff. The state airports, if the state has basically funded any of the buildings, if they have state buildings like MnDOT or the Department of Transportation, you're going to have to pay for all those. If there's any state colleges in those areas, you're going to have to pay for all of those. You guys you're not serious. You're trolling, because if you guys did this, it would be an economic catastrophe for the counties that left and for your own state. And you know why? Because Republicans are idiots. And this is just proof of it. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Hi, everyone. Matt McNeil here. 4 years ago, we came out with the first AM 950 calendar. Now get ready for the 5th edition. It's the 2025 AM 950 calendar, featuring photos I've taken across Minnesota, plus important dates in both progressive and AM 950 history. All new and current sustaining members who make a recurring donation of $10 will receive an AM 950 2025 calendar as a thank you. If you make a monthly recurring contribution of $25 or more, you'll receive a thank you of both the AM 950 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book. Make a one-time $30 donation, you'll get a calendar as a thank you, or make a one-time $100 donation, you'll receive both the AM 950 calendar and a signed Tom Hartman book as a thank you. It's really simple to become a member of AM 950. Go to our webpage, am950radio.com. Click on the membership button and sign up. The website has all the details on the different levels, the 2025 calendar, and Tom's book. Thank you to everyone who, over the last 5 years, has continued to help support AM 950, one of the last true progressive radio stations in the country. Thanks for keeping AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on the air.
Hey, it's Patrick. Your friends and family may be gone now, but the messes that were left behind on your carpets, rugs, upholstery, and more remain. That's why you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res and get 2024 out of your house for good. That's why to start the new year, Zero Res is offering 24% off all cleaning services for the month of January. That's 24% off carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, any surface in your home, and don't forget about your air ducts. Call Zero Res right now at 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. But Zero Res isn't just good for cleaning up the post-holiday messes at home. They can make your business look great too. Zero Res was out at the state this fall, and we couldn't have been happier with their quality of work and their professionalism, and the station looks great. So don't wait. Book your home cleaning today. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
Step into a world of financial empowerment with the Do Different Better show. I'll be your host, Elaine Rasmussen. Join me Sundays at noon on AM 950 as we do a deep dive into wealth education with topics like investing, real estate, and entrepreneurship. No nonsense, tell it like it is, keeping it 100 for everyday people like you. Tune in to get practical insights to rewrite your financial future. So each Sunday at noon, let's do different better. You can hear Do Different Better on your favorite app. Learn more about me at socialimpactnow.com.
Warm up your winter with Next Chapter Booksellers, Imagine chilly weather, a comfy blanket, and a captivating book. Reading in cold weather isn't just cozy, it's an experience, and Next Chapter Booksellers has all the bestsellers and new releases. Let a friendly bookseller guide you to the perfect winter read, because nothing beats getting lost in a book as the snow falls outside. So embrace the cold weather with a great book in hand from Next Chapter Booksellers, located off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul, and at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. This is kind of one of the reasons why I think, Trump thinks he's like a wheeler dealer. And I know he thinks he can do what he does with his buildings with Greenland, that he's going to basically say, we'll pay you $40 trillion for it. And then basically the second he's basically saying, I never promised $40 trillion. I only promised $20. I gave you 20. This deal is done. You can sue me in court. And then if you want to sue me, fine. I will run this out as long as I can, or you can settle for $40. It's up to you. I mean, that's kind of the way he does things. That's not how it's going to go. But I mean, these are not serious people. And I mean, I can say this because in Minnesota, we have this case where the Republicans are trying to overthrow the government of the state right now. Dead serious. In the Minnesota House, the Republicans are trying to they're trying to perform a coup, which is going to be funny watching the Supreme Court smack them down pretty quickly here. But the Minnesota Supreme Court, I should say, this is just, they have these delusional fantasies of we're going to leave and we're going to take all these right-wing counties with us. And then all of a sudden the reality comes, oh no, you treat your own people a hell of a lot worse. I think in Iowa, your wages would drop instantaneously because you wouldn't have a state minimum wage as good as Minnesota's. You wouldn't have state benefits, the laws in the state that require benefits, like they don't do that in Iowa. They do that in Minnesota. And you may not like the metro areas, but it was funny when these idiots came out there and they started talking about taking 2/3 of Minnesota and giving it to South Dakota. We were like, go, because the eastern side of part of the state, which would have been the areas around Lake Superior, so Duluth, the Twin Cities, the city of St. Cloud, Rochester, where the Mayo Clinic is, they'd all stay in part of Minnesota, and we would instantly see a massive increase in state spending within those areas. I mean, it would have been a boon. And as much as they walk around and they preen and they try to do this, look at us, we're tough guys. The reality is, you don't even know basic money. You don't know basic economics. You think the state of Minnesota is just going to give you a bunch of land? You think the state of Illinois, I'm not sure how many state parks are in, or how much state infrastructure are in these counties in Illinois that Indiana wants to take over, but that's going to cost you money. This is like, I don't know. I remember this is out in Idaho and Oregon. The Daily Show brought this up, that Idaho is like, sure, we'll take out those eastern counties of Oregon. And then the guys pointed out, it's like, well, it's going to cost you this much money because there's all this state land that you have to pay for. And the minute all of a sudden the guy started talking about the bill that would come due with it for them to purchase the state land from Oregon to move it into Idaho, even if Oregon was willing to let their counties go, even the people in Idaho were like, no, we'll take it for free. We're not going to pay for it. And so you can sit there and think to yourself that you're going to somehow wheel and deal and negotiate. Like I said, this is about trolling. This is, let's face it, Indiana, I've been to Indiana. Not the best place. I mean, it really is not. I live in a really good city, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I have been to Chicago, a fantastic town. I have been to Seattle, another fantastic town. I have been to Indianapolis. Okay. Every time I've been to Indy, and I've been to Indy 4 or 5 times in my life, not exactly the best place. I mean, I did find across from the river in, New Albany, on the southern border with Louisville. I stayed in New Albany, and that was a cute little town right on the river there. but it's too little too late. I have been numerous times. I've stopped in the state. I've stayed in the state. It's, yeah. You think people want to join your state when you pay such crap wages? You don't take care of your own people, and, the quality of life sucks. I mean, the first sign you see driving Indiana is this damnation sign, Jesus is judging you and hates you, that sort of thing. As you drive into Indiana, I was like, well, that's a bold state motto. There you go. Iowa, I've lived in Iowa twice. I lived in Ames for 3.5 years. I lived in Eldora, Iowa for about a year. Good corn, delicious pork chops. I mean, sometimes it can be very pretty, but you're usually driving for culture and stuff. You're either driving to Chicago, or you're driving to Minneapolis, St. Paul, or down to Kansas City, or to Omaha, which, by the way, that should be your red flag right there. Hey, I like Omaha. Omaha's actually not a bad town, but comparatively, it pales in comparison to Chicago and Seattle and Minneapolis, St. Paul. And if Omaha is the fun time in your state, you have to drive 2 hours over to Omaha. I mean, you can't even drink the water. I'm dead serious, too. You cannot even drink the water in most of the Des Moines area. That the water is so toxic and tastes so bad from the faucets that you cannot drink it. We had friends who lived in Des Moines when I lived in Ames who would drive up to our place in Ames and fill up, milk jugs with water because our water was somewhat drinkable compared to Des Moines. You basically have that problem, and you want to buy our counties? You guys, I mean, once again, the same state that did the whole thing. Well, we're going to let millionaires and billionaires have all the state dollars and with the voucher program, and the rest of you schools can suck it up. That was what you guys did. And the last I saw, most of the voucher money in Iowa is going to people who never once went to public school because you are idiots. Yet now, all of a sudden, you want to take those 9 counties. Okay. Hey, good news. Those 9 counties in southern Minnesota. Let me ask you something. How would you like all your school? First of all, you're going to take a dramatic cut to your education programs because it's Iowa compared to Minnesota, where we spend more money on education than they do down there. So your schools are all going to take a cut across the board. But then on top of that, how would you like to take then part of that lesser amount of money and give it to millionaires and billionaires so they can basically send their kids to private school and religious school for free? Oh, that's a great value, isn't it? Fine. You guys want to try to do this, knock yourself out. But either you are just basically trolling, or you're complete idiots that don't understand the cost of what you're asking to do. And I guarantee you that in Iowa, in Illinois, they're not going to just let go of state property and state buildings and state roads and state parks for free. And that's going to be the best part. As a matter of fact, I hope Governor Walz and Pritzker down in Illinois, I just called their bluff and said, okay, the price for the parks alone would be this. And we're going to actually mark them up because these are premium, unspoiled bits of nature here. So here's what we'll start with this. We'll get to the rest of the bill. You want to consider this, knock yourself out. And watch them quickly. I mean, those cabooses will pucker real fast in Iowa and Indiana. Absolutely. We'll take a break. Come on back. Jeff Stein joins us when we do return. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Eight years ago, over 100,000 Minnesotans marched to the state capitol, standing together to defend women's rights, immigrants' rights, queer rights, and justice for all. Now, as our freedoms face new threats under an incoming administration built on oppression and divisiveness, it's time to stand together again. Join the People's March on January 18th at the Minnesota State Capitol. Together, we'll send a clear and unmistakable message. We will not go back. Building on the legacy of the Women's March Minnesota, this year's event will include a march to the Capitol and a rally. You'll connect with Minnesota organizations working to protect our rights. These organizations need your support, not just now, but over the next 4 years and beyond. The weather may be cold, but our commitment is unbreakable. The stakes are too high to stay silent. Let's show the strength of our voices as we fight for Minnesota's future. Again, that's the People's March on Saturday, January 18th at the state capitol. Details at womansmarchmn.com.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Supporting the best local and independently owned restaurants in the Twin Cities has never been easier. You'll find an expansive list of local dining options at eatlocalminnesota.com, from classic American comfort food to authentic flavors from around the world. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking cuisine, the Great Wall Chinese restaurant has been a local favorite since 1981. They offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include the sesame chicken, imperial beef, and Peking duck. The Great Wall restaurant is located off 45th and France, with takeout available too. More at greatwallrestaurant.us. Nightingale on 26th and Lyndale is the ultimate venue for unforgettable gatherings. Whether big or small, your event will be a hit with delicious food and drinks served in a warm and inviting atmosphere. Plus, Chef Carrie's special creations add that extra touch. Craft cocktails, curated drinks, and a diverse menu make Nightingale perfect for any celebration. More at nightingalempls.com.
I'm Rachel Schroman, owner of Schroman Law, and I believe you deserve information. Our firm offers free quarterly estate planning seminars at our office in St. Paul. At these seminars, you can learn the basics of estate planning from an attorney to help you determine which estate planning documents will meet your needs and goals in an efficient and cost-effective manner. You can learn more and register at our website, schromenlaw.com/events. That's SCHROMEN law.com/events.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 28. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 25. And Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 33. Nightingale offers a warm, inviting atmosphere with a full menu of American classics like the famous Nightingale Burger and Fries, Ginger Tamari Chicken Wings, and Duck Pastrami Reuben. They're open daily from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with a full menu available until midnight. Takeout orders also are welcome. Learn more at nightingalempls.com.
Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff.
Jeff Stein's our national and presidential expert, noted author. You can find his books at your favorite local book retailer. The Iowa Politics Report, the Iowa Business Report, come to us from his flagship station, KXEL, Cedar Falls, Waterloo. And yeah, what's up with this clown car Iowa Republican that wants to? I know he's just trying to troll, but does he understand that you're going to have to pay for the state parks, man? You know, you're going to have to pay for all the roads and all the buildings. I think they're doing. Indiana's trying to do this to Illinois as well. And it's like these clowns just don't seem to understand. There's more than just all of a sudden changing the zip code here.
I'm driving along today, and by the way, good afternoon. I'm driving along in rural Iowa today, and I hear the radio news talk about a lawmaker. Now, keep in mind, the Iowa legislature just came back on Monday, and the lawmaker introduces a bill saying, yes, we'd like to buy 9 counties from Minnesota. And I thought,
9.
What? Why? What are you trying? I mean, only if we can get rid of the southernmost 9 counties to Missouri. You know, I do that.
No, that's not. Well, Keokuk can be nice at times, but I mean, we shouldn't rush too much there. But
no, I know.
I just it's so funny. We had this happen in Minnesota, and like I said, and I was talking about this before you came on the air. And when all of a sudden they realize the steep drop in state spending that they're going to have to take in those counties, all of a sudden every city manager and county manager is like, whoa, we love the Twin Cities. We're staying in Minnesota. Well, don't be doing this to us, man. Don't do this to us. That kind of
Can you imagine if that happened? Can you imagine the toll that you would charge to get people to go from North Iowa, the new quadrant, into Minnesota? You charge this huge toll to teach these people a lesson.
We wouldn't do that. I mean, I think they'd come themselves. I think you'll have a lot less people. I mean, he says 180,000. I don't think it'll be 180,000. I think a lot of people are like, I'll move up there. Now, mind you, if you want to move to Iowa, you can grab a U-Haul truck anytime you like and go down there. I mean, it's not like you're full.
You got plenty of space.
There's always room for one more, as they say. No, the governor of Iowa did her condition of the state last night and talked about how she was going to be spending a lot of time in Illinois to convince their businesses to move across the river. And it's like, what is this with this territorial conquest approach? I don't know.
Well, we had that in Minnesota. A bunch of people in South Dakota were like, move your business over here. I said, yeah, okay. Do you understand the transportation cost increase you're about to experience because you're out in the boonies in South Dakota? Yeah. Bon voyage. And needless to say, I don't think too many people took them up on their desire. A few corporations moved their post office box headquarters over there, but that was about it.
Well, it's the same thing as why are so many corporations in America headquartered technically in Delaware? Again, it's just for the favorable, home state. Yeah, no, it's, I don't know. It's kind of like, you'd like to think the first bill that you'd introduce would be something that has to do with, I don't know, helping agribusiness, growing the economy in a tangible way. No, let's just go buy Minnesota. Piecemeal.
Well, and mind you, I think if you pay for it, which I don't think you guys, like I said, he's trolling because he doesn't really want to pay the real price. If you want to pay for it, considering most of those counties are moocher counties, I have no problem. So long,
Oh, wait a minute, moocher counties.
No, if you look at the state of Minnesota,
yes,
the state of Minnesota, the Twin Cities, the 7-county metro area, and the Twin Cities basically subsidizes the rest of the state. I mean, outside of one or two other counties, that's about it. And so, sure, we'll see a massive increase in our spending. Bye.
Do you really think it's a good karma sort of thing to throw out into the air? Moocher counties? Is that really where you want to go?
Well, if you get to the point where you keep talking about the Twin Cities metro area as some sort of hellscape, moocher counties is kind of civil.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. All right.
Okay, so here is the question, and this is just, I'm saying this as a veteran. Okay,
yes.
You're telling me there is no MAGA conservative, highly decorated military career soldier who's not a flaming drunk, who doesn't have a sexual assault allegation against him, who they could not put up for defense secretary. When I saw what happened yesterday, when I hear the story of 3 gin and tonic breakfasts, 3 gin and tonic breakfasts. When you hear this stuff and you say this, it goes back to what I said a few weeks ago. These people are clearly there as yes men, and their job is to be Ollie North and fall on a sword to prevent anything. This is what Trump has learned. I've got to put people around me who are basically going to serve the time and basically keep me out of trouble. And when you look at Pam Bondi today, you're looking at Hegseth yesterday. That is the epitome of why they're taking people who are highly unqualified and trying to put them into these positions.
Did Hegseth grow up in a moocher county? Do you know? I don't know where he was from.
He was up north. I think technically he's just north of Washington. Is that Chisago County? I think he was up there. I think it's one of those borderline counties.
Borderline moocher county.
They might have made their own. They might have basically broken even, but I don't think that they were necessarily losing money on their stake money going in.
It may not have been a drain on the state, is what you're saying. All right. I'll mention Bondi first. You got a whole different situation in terms of competency. I think she is light years ahead in the competency realm. Now, you may say blind toward Trump.
Oh, yeah.
But it's hard to make the not competent case against her in the way you could make it against Hegseth. Okay.
Well, and that's a fair statement.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so maybe then it'd be better if I classified it. You have incompetency and you have blind obedience. Pam Bondi is a prime example of that. The law of the land is
absolutely.
the law of the land is Joe Biden won, and they asked her point blank, and she still refuses to admit, as a person who's going to be the top law enforcement official in the country, that Joe Biden won the election fair and square, which is the law. He did win it. The courts have all proved this. He won this, and she still can't do this. And this is a woman that wants to be the attorney general.
The Hegseth issue is very different, as you just noted.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So much of this, they're trap questions. And you can either walk into the trap and have the jaws of the bear trap grab you by the leg, which is what happened to her today on that one. Or you know it's coming, you come up with an answer that is much more palatable to 80% of America. Right? I mean, when you say Joe Biden is the president, okay, but that's not the declaration I was going for. So when you're getting those questions, you have to know they're coming, right? Now, with regard to Hegseth yesterday, there was nothing that surprised me. Were you surprised by anything that came out of that day?
I was surprised. You want to know the truth? I'm surprised by your senator, Ernst. Basically, I mean, this is a woman who said, I'm herself as a sexual assault survivor.
Mhm.
She was like, nope, this is a non-starter for me. And to find out that the person who's accused him of sexual assault called her office and said, I would love to meet and discuss this with you. And she refused to meet with them. That just told me, I guess you really, you're willing to give a mulligan on this one. And I mean, that's the one thing that surprised me was she seemed to have, I mean, there's sometimes you see some of these people, these MAGA people come in with some level of, conscience all of a sudden kicks in. And clearly this whole 2 weeks, 3 weeks with Greenland, the pressure campaign was on these senators. And it is pretty tragic to watch Joni Ernst, who very clearly at the beginning said, no, this is a non-starter, sit there and say, well, I'm going to just jam my fingers in my ears, close my eyes tightly and scream, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I have not spoken with her since the nomination of Hegseth. We have a monthly interview set up and it didn't fall in the window. Okay. So I have not asked her about it. What I recall, and we've talked about this, she was very non-committal, had the first meeting with him, then it hit the fan from Magaland. Then there was a second meeting, and after that meeting came the statement where she said she was felt good about what he said about reviews, et cetera, and that she would support him through the interview process. Which everybody at the time, as you recall, said, oh, she says she's supporting him. No, there was wiggle room in there. But you did not see that on display yesterday, did you, in the questioning?
Nope,
Not,
it wasn't.
not at all.
And the fact that she, as a person who claims to be an advocate for sexual abuse people, the
Mhm.
fact that she's refusing to even meet with the person who's made the allegation. And we're talking about, yes, this is relevant. This is a person who's been accused of this, who's trying to be the Secretary of Defense. You can't put this out there. But I want to go back to something you just said earlier. You've got to avoid the trap. This is my initial point.
Mhm.
There are plenty of people where the biggest crime they have,
That's
and I
true.
don't care about your politics, but the biggest crime you had is you did a mismanagement of a reorganization of a corps or a unit or something like this. And so you have some, really in the weeds kind of issues that you are addressing. That's usually what the case is. That's not the trap. When you get to the point of, well, did you murder your neighbor? That's the trap has not been set by the Democrats. The trap has been set by the Republican and the nominee himself for being so unvotable that you basically just basic questions about who they are trap questions. And whether it's Bondi, whether it's Hegseth, these traps have not been laid by the Democrats. They were laid by them.
No, and to be clear, a question of Hegseth about alcohol, about those veterans organizations, and about treatment of women. Those aren't traps.
No.
They're very straightforward questions. What I meant when I said a trap question of Bondi, you're going to get asked the question about the propriety of the election. You need to have a better, answer, or else you just fall into the trap, and that's all I'm getting with that.
Well, yeah.
And she did. Gave exactly the answer, right? Here's the thing with Hegseth, and you and I talked about this at the time. We didn't get into deep detail when it first came out because the Hegseth nomination was trumped by the Gates nomination right after it. It's like, okay. When I first saw it, I'm walking through the room and TV's on, and I see in the corner it says Hegseth named Defense Secretary nominee. I saw that and I thought, my mind thought it said spokesperson, like Defense Department spokesperson. I thought, oh, okay, whatever. Then when you realize it's the Defense Secretary, and I'm thinking, does the person have the chops for that? Now, I'm going to be very careful in what I say here, okay? Do not consider the allegations of sexual impropriety, financial mismanagement, or alcohol. Just put those over here for a moment.
Sure.
Does he have the qualifications otherwise to run the department?
Nope.
Okay, now there's the key. Okay,
I'm a veteran. I can say this as a vet. No, he doesn't.
and
Nope,
that's
not even
why.
close.
And that's why I want to be real careful, because I'm not saying, oh, ignore all that. No. But just for this point, if he does not even have the qualifications, absent anything else, what in the blazes? Other than your point of direct 150% loyalty to the titular commander in chief.
And that's what I said. It's loyalists who are going to fall on swords. And I mean, and that's Hegseth. When Duckworth was asking him about women in combat, where he was trying to say, I said that in 2013, he said, you said that 9 months ago on a podcast. And he clearly forgot he had said that 9 months ago on a podcast. Or when he was trying to clarify his comments about massive cuts to the VA. I mean, and once again, exactly. We can put aside, I mean, although we shouldn't, alcohol, the sexual impropriety, the fact that he misspent management funds for veterans. We can put that aside. These are just two core issues of the military. You have women are a proud part of that organization. They have been proudly serving. They have served in combat zones. They deserve respect. Same thing goes with the veterans who are in these homes, need the medical care, and you sitting there wanting to say, cut. Now, all of a sudden, realizing, maybe that's not the best sell, and trying to argue that was a long time ago. Dude, 9 months ago, you said both of those things again on a podcast. You want to cut VA benefits, and women, chickie poos shouldn't be serving, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. The fact that those two things, if they're not disqualifying enough, and once again, Joni Ernst, a veteran, female veteran, if you are going to bury your conscience and in any kind of nobility under that kind of level of dirt, I can't help you. So.
Well, and again, you mentioned various adjectives for women in the service. How about vital? That's one.
Exactly. Vital and damn good too. I have served with them. Jeff Stein joining us. We'll take a break. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Are you struggling with cognitive decline, post-COVID brain fog, ADHD, concussion, tremors from Parkinson's, mental health issues, or simply striving to optimize your brain's potential? Hypercharge Wellness Brain Health specifically offers cutting-edge modalities, including quantitative EEG, transcranial laser, red light therapy, all which work holistically, amplifying focus and cognitive functions. Utilizing these modalities in tandem enhances neural activities, optimizes the brain's electrical patterns, reduces anxiety, and enhances relaxation, ensuring a comprehensive approach to brain health optimization. All are invited to experience this life-changing journey towards achieving optimal cognitive and emotional well-being. Call or schedule online your free Hypercharge Wellness introductory session valued at $200 today. This is your opportunity to feel the difference for yourself. No matter where you are in the Twin Cities, there's a convenient location near you. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com now. Check out our 5-star reviews on our website. Hypercharge is hope.
Minnesotans are hardy. We don't let snow or ice get in our way. We have places to go. So making sure your vehicle is in prime shape for winter driving is so important. Take your vehicle to Rudy Luther Toyota for all your service needs. I was just there. I got my oil and filters replaced, and they did a complete safety check to make sure my vehicle can tackle winter. And they service all makes and models of vehicles. Head to RudyLutherToyota.com and use their super easy Toyota service schedule to set up your service appointment today. Rudy Luther Toyota on the southeast corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Hi, I'm Mary T, inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy. Experience wellness.
Hi, I'm Corey Wisco, president of the Welshire. The Welshire is a community that provides memory care to its residents, and we have a location in Bloomington and also another one that we just opened in Medina, Minnesota. But the big question is that why do people come to Welshire? Many of the people coming to Welshire are coming from other memory care communities where they maybe haven't received bathing. They've had problems taking medication or inconsistency with staffing. Wilshire has never used a temporary staff. We always have our own people, and it's those people that make the difference. We have always felt it's so important to have 24-hour nursing in the building. The other thing is you have to have an amazing activity team. Nobody employs more activity people than Wilshire. Our activities begin in the morning, go all the way through the evening, 7 days a week. So if you have a loved one that needs memory care, come visit WilshireMN.com and book a tour today.
Where's my telephone? Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the nighttime in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW, and of course on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show, 952-946-6205. Jeff Stein joining us right now. Jack Smith's report, I want to get into that too. First of all, none of his comments about conviction I think should really be questioned, not because of his crack staff of investigators, but Trump already admitted to all of this stuff repeatedly over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's not exactly, a Miss Marple here. This is a pretty clear, yes, here's the gun. I shot him. I mean, basically, he's saying, anyone could have, easy layup of a prosecution could have put him and found him guilty on this. Because and I get this because he did mention specifically social media posts. And so I said, I imagine they had blow-ups all ready to go for the court case on that one.
Miss Marple. I mean, really nicely done by the man wearing the Rush Tour t-shirt.
There you go. 50th anniversary, my friend.
You're not even 50 years old. Well,
oh, yeah, actually, I got bad news for you.
yeah, no, I have worse news. Okay, so this is me as a criminal defense lawyer speaking.
Okay.
Every prosecutor's indictment, every prosecutor's report, everything they take to a grand jury, by definition, ought to look like a slam dunk, because otherwise you don't bring it, right? I mean, if you only hear the one side, it's going to look like a slam dunk.
Yeah.
That said, okay, so the fact that he's talking about how he's guaranteeing a conviction, et cetera, just like with the Hunter Biden prosecutor, I mean, he was just loading everything up. That's what I expect. So what you do with those is what you just did. All right, let's take this allegation of Smith and see what the facts are. Well, when you've got a putative defendant admitting whatever it might happen to be, you go check. I mean, the way you analyze any of these things is, what are the elements of the case? What's the jury instruction say? What has to be proven? And yes, the prosecutor is going to lay it on with a glop of chocolate frosting on the top, but there's cake underneath. I like to use food analogies so you'll understand.
I mean, I'm following every word you're saying, sir.
You're drooling, I can tell. But that's the thing. It's like, I expect the report to be heavy-handed, but then can you connect the dots? Can you say, all right, what do you got here? Other than to say the prosecutor is deranged. When the defense is the prosecutor is deranged, that's the I know what you are, but what am I defense? The you're ugly and your mother dresses you funny defense. That's not a defense.
I'm wondering how much my gut feeling, and I'm going to just say this. My gut feeling is Jack Smith's investigations. There are copies of that someplace, and whether it's going to be, like other document leaks in the past, eventually we're going to see all this. The one thing about his report, which I was fascinated about, and once again, a lot of this, I think there was very public things, and of course the investigation into him in the Congress, but it was clear he was laying out, oh no, he was 100% responsible for those people going there and attacking the cops at the Capitol. That was on Trump, which leads me to believe they must have gotten some communications, whether text messages, emails, whatever the case may be, phone conversations, which kind of laid out that this was all top down from Trump, which, by the way, if I can, goes to why these cabinet people are who they are. I mean, the thing he learned is basically, I can't put people around me that might blab at some point. They all have to be insane loyalists that are willing to sacrifice themselves for me. And I think that that's maybe because that's the real lesson of this investigation for him.
But did they not put in the report the specific pieces of evidence to support the assertion?
Some of it, but some of it was not described, which then goes into the other thing I just wanted to mention really quick. Eileen Cannon.
Yeah.
Okay, clearly. All right. I think even conservatives have to admit she is going out of her way to aid Trump. That her job, the reason why they put her in that district with Trump, with Mar-a-Lago in it, was so that she basically could run interference. And everything she has done the last 2 weeks just shows me that's the case. I have a feeling that when the Democrats do take back over again, rule number one is going to be a full investigation into her and whether or not she should even stay on the court bench.
I don't think it's that.
Oh, it's pretty blatant.
Well, but the thing is, she could have done much more, is what I'm saying. I mean, she could have just said, wait until the 21st.
She basically we have pictures of boxes of classified documents in bathrooms at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, who doesn't?
Where's Miss Marple? You know,
who doesn't? But now you said one thing, and you said that there will be leaks.
Oh, I like. Well, the Pentagon Papers. Remember those?
No. Yeah. Yes, I am old enough to remember those, but
I don't know if you're aware of this.
Lincoln was going to the theater one night. Yes, really? I've heard. Wow. I've heard. Yeah. Here's the thing: the only way it's going to get leaked after January 20th at 11 o'clock, Twin Cities time, is if somebody took it out with them before.
I think they did.
Okay, but that's my point. Is that you're talking about? Well, this is going to get leaked later. Not through the official channels, because it's not going to exist in the official channels.
Oh, no, it's going to, I mean, Pam Bondi's already basically said, I'm going to haul the stuff out back and burn it. When they asked her if she would preserve evidence, she said, if I need to. I mean, that was kind of her answer to that today.
Wasn't that the question about how will you cut down on the heating bills? And she was talking about big bonfires with documents. Wasn't that?
That's what I think. I honestly think this is their ultimate slap in the face, that they're going to leak this. And it might not be anytime soon. It might be in 8-9 months. But all of a sudden, with some trusted journalists, not the New York Times, not the Washington Post, but it's somebody out there, that all of a sudden there's going to be some boxes that show up at their office, and it's going to have a lot of little secrets in it.
For the radio audience, Matthew, as he said, a lot of little secrets, just kind of, tapped his fingers together.
The finger thing, like I'm a Bond villain, yes.
Like, oh man, you just are.
Well,
of course it's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen.
Okay, do you think that there is a copy of that is not within the Department of Justice right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
How stupid are these people?
You and I, this is not our first rodeo, man. And if for no other reason, Jack Smith might just have that there saying, if all of a sudden you start prosecuting me, I might have to drop a few things. So. Exactly. Jeff Stein, once again, find his books at your favorite bookstore. We'll talk to you next Wednesday, my friend. Yes. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Brad Tapke joins me after the news.
Did you know Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken airs 5 nights a week at 10 p.m.? That's 5 nights of talking about ghosts, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. We're talking about the paranormal every Monday through Friday with some of the most trusted names in the field. Join us and step into the unknown with Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Only if you dare.
Start the new year with nonstop laughs at Brave New Workshop's Big Christmas Energy. This holiday tradition, now running through January, is packed with sketches and songs to keep the laughs going. Enjoy new sketches and perennial favorites, including their unforgettable take on the 12 Days of Christmas. Whether you're recovering from awkward holiday conversations or just looking for a good time, Big Christmas Energy will leave you smiling. Catch Big Christmas Energy Thursdays through Saturdays in January at Brave New Workshop in Minneapolis. Get tickets at bravenewworkshop.org.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast. You're listening to AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempen. The current and the incoming president are jockeying for credit over the Gaza peace deal, which officials say will take effect Sunday.
Both President Biden and President-elect Trump are claiming credit for the Gaza ceasefire deal. As word first spread, Trump called it an epic agreement that could only have happened because of his November win. He'd been pressuring Hamas with threats over what would happen if hostages weren't freed by the time he took office.
All hell will break out.
At the White House,
This is the exact framework of the deal I proposed back in May.
President Biden says while his administration negotiated the deal, it worked closely with Trump's Mideast envoy, noting the incoming administration will have to help oversee the deal's implementation. But when asked whom the history books will credit for the agreement,
Is that a joke?
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Los Angeles officials again are defending themselves in the wake of last week's wildfire response.
With the devastating California wildfires still raging and more than 24 deaths, officials are left defending last week's response. LA City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley.
We followed the system. We surged where we could surge.
Crowley under fire for not doubling the number of firefighters on duty last Tuesday as the winds picked up and having only 5 of more than 40 engines deployed, according to internal records obtained by the Los Angeles Times.
We pre-deployed the necessary resources, knowing that, or not knowing, I should be very specific, in where a fire might break out in the city.
The department calling in off-duty firefighters after the Palisades fire erupted. I'm Julie Walker.
Is it possible for cigarettes to be non-addictive? The Biden administration is floating a long-awaited proposal to make cigarettes less addictive by capping their nicotine levels, but implementing low-nicotine cigarettes would fall to the
It's big. Soon, Donald J. Trump will be inaugurated the next president. And millions of Americans want to know
Start the new year with nonstop laughs
They're
at Brave
turning
New
to-
Workshop's Big Christmas Energy. This holiday tradition, now running through January, is packed with sketches and songs to keep the laughs going. Enjoy new sketches and perennial favorites, including their unforgettable take on the 12 Days of Christmas. Whether you're recovering from awkward holiday conversations or just looking for a good time, Big Christmas Energy will leave you smiling. Catch Big Christmas Energy Thursdays through Saturdays in January at Brave New Workshop in Minneapolis. Get tickets at bravenewworkshop.org.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950 for Snap Construction again. Does your home feel colder than it should with the furnace constantly running? Or do certain rooms always feel colder than the rest of the house? Those are signs the attic in your home may need an insulation upgrade. Snap Construction can help by providing a free energy audit for your home's insulation. The average cost of getting new insulation can cost much less than a new furnace. Plus, Snap Construction is a BPI certified installer. That means if you use Snap for your next insulation project, you qualify for up to $650 in total rebates from your energy provider. After my free inspection, my insulation upgrade was completed within a few weeks and the rebate check was in the mail. Snap to it and reduce your heating bill this winter with Snap Construction. Call 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP for your free energy audit when you mention AM 950. Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed exterior contractor and insulation company in the metro.
Spring and summer is the right time to install your fireplace. Find your perfect fireplace and have it installed and ready before the cold weather hits again. If you already have a wood fireplace, consider a fireplace insert or check out the entire selection at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces on East Franklin and Riverside in Minneapolis. It will transform your inefficient fireplace into a reliable, environmentally smart heating system.
This is Peter Solak, owner of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Have you ever watched your dog or cat curl up in front of a fire? It's primordial, the way it touches both the animal and the human. We know that fire reaches deep into the heart and soul. Let us show you how. We have over 35 working units on display here in Minneapolis. We are located at the east end of Riverside Avenue at 2901 East Franklin. From I-94, take the Riverside Avenue exit. Find us also online at woodlandstoves.com. Let us help you make a fireplace part of your life.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 28. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 25. And Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 33. Don't wait. Become a member of AM 950 Radio today and get your 2025 calendar. Donate now to secure yours while supplies last. And with a larger contribution, receive Tom Hartman's signed book, too. Act fast and show your support for AM 950 Radio. Find details at am950radio.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Wednesday. Matt McNeil, the Matt McNeil Show. Nice to have you with us today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's get right to it. The representative from District 54A is Brad Tabke. He is the winner of that race. He is kind enough to join us right now to talk about what is going on in St. Paul with the attempted coup by the Republican Party. Representative, thank you very much, and congratulations on your victory, sir.
Hey, thanks, Matt. I appreciate it.
Let's talk about that quickly. The judge came on out. I mean, to a point, I get why there was the court case. I mean, you had 20 ballots that disappeared. They don't know what happened. Nothing that you did nor your opponent did. This was something that the vote counters, it was an accident there. But without a doubt, you had proven that that you had found the people that these votes had disappeared from, and enough people came forward to saying, yeah, they were going to vote for you, to where there just wasn't enough there for them to overturn your lead at that point, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We have, we know that we won the race. We've got, and you don't need to take my word for it. We've got an independent judge who said these things in a really big, voluminous ruling that was 47 pages long and was just really decisive in our victory.
That being said, the Republicans, even though you're the winner, that's not in debate anymore. You are the winner. They basically are saying no, nuh-uh, and are vowing that if you come into the Capitol, that they are going to immediately kick you out of the Minnesota House.
Yep, it's shocking when you say it out loud and when you talk about it. Like, it is amazing to me that this is the direction that they're going. Like, they are working really hard to just steal the votes of 22,000 people here in Shakopee. And it's, I don't know how they're doing it with a straight face. I don't know how they're doing it okay, and how there aren't more Republicans that are just standing up and saying, hey, this isn't right. We shouldn't be doing this.
I had Representative Long on yesterday, and he sort of said there isn't really a long game here with these Republicans. And he was talking necessarily about eventually you're going to need some Democrats to vote with you. And right now you're just spraying gasoline and throwing matches. But in regards to Shakopee, let's talk about your district. This has been a district which Republicans have held, you have held. It's gone back and forth. This seems to be a name palming of this district for the Republicans, because by doing this, I can't believe that even a lot of Republicans are like, okay, wait a second here. The election's over. He won. Why are you saying we can't have a representative? It seems insanely short-sighted for a district where Republicans have challenged. And once again, this was a relatively close race.
Yeah, it was a super, super close race. Like, it was way, way too close. But it is what it is. We won the election. I was doing, since we are denying quorum, because the second we go in, they will steal our seat here in Shakopee and invalidate 22,000 votes. Since we're doing that, we're doing a ton of work in district and talking to folks. And so today I was doing tours of small businesses and local folks, and folks that I know for a fact like didn't vote for me and also think that this is all just trash. Like, doing this, they know me, they know who I am. They don't always agree with my politics on things, and that's okay. But we're able to talk about things and figure out how we can go and do good work for Shakopee, even though we don't agree on some things. And where we're at now, it's just like they want to leave us without a representative for months, and I just don't know how anybody could possibly be okay with that.
And once again, as you talk to the people in Shakopee, this is obviously, I can tell you, I'm in Hopkins, and if Cheryl Joachim was denied her seat, I'd be livid. I would be livid. I mean, and yet, here you are down there, and they want to prevent you, because regardless of whether they're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green, whatever their party is, if they've got a problem, they come to you. They come to your state senator. They come to your House rep. You're the point person. I need help. And of course, your office is always open. That's the job. And they're basically saying, we're going to shut down that office so you guys can't get any help down there. And that's just the way, not because of any legitimate claim, but because they're just sore losers that they lost this seat and they're trying to perform a coup.
Yeah, they don't like the result, so they are just changing the rule. And so this is something it's in the Constitution that these election contests can happen. Like this is the path, but it has never ever been used like this in the history of the state of Minnesota. Like the election contests have happened when there have been major campaign violations, when there have been criminal issues with campaigns, and it has happened that way, but never, all of those as well have also had a judge's order saying that this is what should happen. And this is the judge very clearly reaffirmed and gave fact finding that we won and we need to move on and we need to do this. And so it's just unconscionable to me that they would be moving this direction and wanting, just being so desperate for power and being so desperate to have another vote in their favor. Like they should have won a majority. Like they should have won 68 votes. I wish we'd have won 68 votes. Then we wouldn't be here. But the fact is that Minnesota sent 67 Republicans and 67 Democrats to the House, and we should get it together and we should absolutely go and do our work instead of this fake House legislature that they're doing right now. I just, it makes me sad.
They've got a curtain and a cow. They're putting on a show because that's the only thing they're doing. I agree with this. I've never seen a political party act like a tie is an outstanding. We won every seat, but that's the Republicans. A brilliant masterstroke by you yourself, the DFL, in getting sworn in early. And that was because that was such a broadside to them. They were not expecting you guys to do this. It does have legal precedent. You guys just outsmarted them, said, we're going to swear in Brad Tabke. And as much as they want to do that now, you're sworn in. So they have to remove you to get you out of there at this point.
Right. And that's the way it was the whole time. Anyway, like that was literally a notary signing that I put my hand up and I took the oath. Like that's what the swearing in is. And we didn't want that to be like a big point of contention. We didn't want it to be a big thing because we all wanted to be there on Tuesday, yesterday at noon, to swear in as a body. We didn't want to have to rely on that as part of where we're at, but we also don't want to govern and attempt to govern with one arm tied behind our back. Like we just don't want to be in that position, and we don't want to put my constituents in that position. We don't want to put the 22,000 voters in Shakopee in that position. And so we had to make sure that we're protecting the ability to protect those votes. And the Republicans have proven that they are not trustworthy with upholding democracy and making sure that they are there. And this sham that they're putting on the legislature is continuing to show that. And we need to make sure that we're protecting those votes, whether you voted for me, whether you voted for the Republican, whatever it may be. Those votes matter. And this is what the city said, and this is where we should go.
Well, joining us right now, Brad Tabke is the representative who's won his district 54A, kind enough to join us to talk about what's been going on in St. Paul. The letter that Steve Simon came out with, I mean, he did his due diligence. He looked at the Constitution. And the thing about the Constitution, which is kind of cool, is in this manner, is that it very specifically says if it's seats, it just has to be 68. If there are parts of the Constitution which do definitively say members present, that's not what it says for a quorum. The quorum is seats. I expect the Minnesota Supreme Court to rule on this fairly quickly, that the Republicans are just, all they're doing is a dog and pony show and actually not doing anything because they're violating the state constitution.
Yeah, that's what we believe as well. It's throughout Minnesota history, it's been pretty clear, like crystal clear, that 68 votes has been quorum. And we firmly, like, they passed House rules yesterday that outline exactly what they do for an election contest. And so our feeling, and we just don't know. I don't know what their end game is. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish with it. I just don't get it, because they need another vote to do anything for the state of Minnesota. There's another vote that's necessary. And right now they're just LARPing as a majority. And it's just not, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And so hopefully we get those rulings quickly. And we're in completely uncharted territory. Nobody knows exactly what this all means and where we're at. This has never happened before. There's never been a coup taking over the House in Minnesota. And I cannot fathom how so many there are a lot of Republicans that I work really closely with, and I know are genuinely good, kind, caring people that are going along with this with a smile and some applause. And I just don't I don't get it. And we should be working together. We should all be there, and they should guarantee that they're not going to kick me out, and then we can get started.
And there's a bunch of Republicans who ran under the argument of, I work with the other side of the aisle, and they're kind of showing their true colors right now.
Totally.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander, though. We had the story come out last year about Dotseth, the representative, and he has some sworn affidavits which have not been rescinded. Reminder, he's pled to a lesser charge, got a stayed sentence there, but there are sworn affidavits against him about spousal abuse, child abuse, animal abuse, some fairly unappealing things. I mean, clearly, and once again, the Republican leader has said, "Oh, that's a red line for me," but she seems to be very much welcoming on in. There are other people on the Republican side. I mean, if they're going to try this, will the DFL, somewhat go after, whether it's the recall option or refusing to seat someone? Will they basically go after that themselves?
Well, I don't know exactly. Like, we don't want to play this game. We just want to govern, and we want to, like, people elect representatives, and they elected, even though somebody is a domestic violence, it's terrible and it's awful, animal abuse, like all these things that you talked about. It is horrific that we should be serving with someone like this, but that's what the voters sent to the legislature. And so unless there's something else that we want to do about that, it takes 2/3 votes to expel someone. In that case, it takes a majority of the people present to complete an election contest. So we go in, I'm gone on the first day, is the way they are working this. And so, but even with that and where we're at, like today, they passed a resolution in the fake Minnesota House that is to have the taxpayers on the hook to pay for the Supreme Court. So their taxpayers are now on the hook for the lawyers and everything to support the fake Minnesota House. And those are all lawyers from Harry Niska's law firm. And so the grift is real. It is something that is just...
If I may, you're saying to me they basically did a backdoor deal for Niska's law firm partners to where basically the state taxpayers are paying them a sum they can come up with to go defend themselves from their attempt to overthrow the Constitution of the state of Minnesota at the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Leader Long just did a press release about this, so that's there. We found out about the resolution this morning, and exactly what they did with it in a Rules Committee. I've been busy today, so I've been talking with constituents and out and doing things, so I don't know exactly what they did with it, but that's the resolution that they brought forward, was to pay fake Majority Leader Harry Niska's law firm to represent the Minnesota House, the fake Minnesota House in the Supreme Court. So the taxpayers are on the hook for this sham, pretend legislature that they have put together when they only have 67 votes. They can't do anything. And they know this. They just don't want to, they want power so badly that they're going for it.
Considering Republican fiscal responsibility, I know exactly why they did this, because they don't have the money to do it themselves. But yeah, that's pretty brazen. And I should mention once again, and with Dotseth's case, these are sworn affidavits. He pled guilty on a lesser charge. So those are still out there. Mm-hmm. And yet the Republican Party says that is okay. You are a bad guy because you won your race fair and square. That's their red line, not Dotseth and his sworn affidavits against him. And I mean, that just tells you, well, and what you just described tells you the character of these people. This is not about the benefit of Minnesota. It's about them. And frankly, in this case, it sounds like just enriching the pockets of a few of their buddies.
Right. And all we want to do as the Democratic House Caucus is get back to work. Like the speaker offered the sun and the moon to get us back to work yesterday. And the one of the major things was to make sure that I was able to be seated and that they weren't going to steal the election from 22,000 voters in Shakopee. Like that was a main piece of it. And the Republicans, fake speaker Lisa Damuth wouldn't agree to it, except for saying that she would agree, we'll take all the things that you're offering, but we'll only agree not to remove Representative Tackey today. So they were kind enough to say that they wouldn't remove me on opening day of session, but that left the rest of it and any other future any other future things off the table. Like it's not serious, people.
I mean, as the DFL caucus, as you're avoiding St. Paul, and I do this, I've started an ugly rumor that you're all visiting the outstate Arby's across the state. That's how you're avoiding them. Is that an option? Can we get you like to the Pipestone Arby's or something like that? That's where the DFL caucus is hiding out today.
We are all in our districts. We are all doing the work that the people have sent us to do. It just happens to be not at the Capitol right now. And so we're working on bills. We're working on things because we know for a fact that we are going to govern sometime, and we better be ready because they are doing a horrible job of setting up a successful session.
Well, and once again, I want to repeat something we said earlier. This is so short-sighted by them because they have to have a Democratic vote to pass any bill. They have to have that. And on top of that, this is a district, your district, specifically 54A, is a district that they've been able to compete in. And they're basically saying, we're going to sacrifice this district because I can't imagine they're going to compete very well in that district anymore. They're willing to sacrifice that district for what? Just a short-term game? Because probably, I mean, even if they somehow finagle this, you'd probably win a special election anyway. So this is so stupid that they're even doing this, but that's what it is. Any idea when the Minnesota Supreme Court, any idea when they might be able to rule on this? Have they given any hint?
I am not aware. No, that is something that's outside my purview. I just know that I'm working to make sure that we have letting everybody know what the thing is, because I've been very quiet and haven't been able to, while the trial was happening. And then since the trial, we didn't want to try and we didn't want to say a bunch out loud because we didn't want the judge to feel like we were trying to influence or anything like that. So I've been staying very quiet up until we have a ruling now. And people in shock, we just haven't been able to get the message out yet as to why this is so important. And we are denying quorum because they would throw out Shakopee's representative on the very first day. Even though we won the election, even though we have a judge saying that we won the election, they are going to do that simply as a power grab. And we can't do that to the voters of Minnesota. We can't do that to the voters of Shakopee, and it is simply not right. So we are doing what we have to do to protect those voters.
Is there one last thing here? Is there a fear that you have about what would happen? The Supreme Court sides with Secretary Simon and the DFL. No, you have to have 68 seats. What the Republicans, I mean, they clearly don't seem to be hinged at this point. They seem very unhinged at this point. Are you concerned at all about what they might try to do after that, whether that's themselves disappear or whether or not they would just basically say, put up benches and boards and try to seal themselves in the House and prevent anyone from coming in there?
Matt, I have long ago stopped trying to figure out what Republicans are going to do. It just doesn't. It doesn't do me any good, and it's a waste of my my time and energy. And all we can game plan things. We can make sure that we are prepared and that we are doing the best we possibly can with these things. But we just need to play our game, and we need to do our thing to make sure that we're on the right side of history with this. It's a sad state of affairs, and we need to make sure that we are the party that is protecting 22,000 voters. That's who we are. That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to continue to do until we get an agreement to govern.
The winner of 54A, undeniable. You can't question it. It's a fact. Brad Tabke joining us today. Representative, thank you very much. All my best on this. I have faith the Minnesota Supreme Court is going to rule with us, and we'll have to see what happens after that. But thank you very much. I appreciate the time today.
Always great chatting. Have a great day.
Take care, sir. Representative Brad Tabke, the winner of his House race, kind enough to join us today. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
The world as I fell asleep.
Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for indoor winter activities. Cozy up with a book. They have all the bestsellers and new releases. Plus, their booksellers are great at making recommendations. Beyond books, enjoy mind-bending puzzles and family fun board games for those snowy days. And don't miss Next Chapter's in-store events, book clubs, author signings, and children's story time. So stay busy this winter with Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
I love the Toyota Sienna Hybrid from Rudy Luther Toyota. Safe, roomy, comfortable, and insanely fuel efficient. One thing I haven't mentioned is how good the Sienna is at winter driving. We just had a snowstorm, and my Sienna handled the ice and snow no problem. From getting through the plow pile at the end of the driveway to safely navigating the snow-covered highways, the Sienna is designed to give you a comfortable, safe drive. When winter weather hits, I give myself extra time, but with Sienna's handling and heated seats, extra time is great. Test drive a Sienna today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Hello, everyone. This is Becky McNatton and Tara Martini, hosts of Feels Out Loud, heard each Sunday at 9 a.m. on AM 950 radio, where we talk about mental health, life, emotions, and strategies to help you honor your humanness.
Join us starting Sunday, January 26th, as we process through feeling out loud, what it means and looks like to share of ourselves with others, and the impact to us when we don't.
So grab your coffee, find a comfortable spot to relax, and tune in at 9 a.m. to live and share mental health with us together.
Hey, it's Freddie Bell, host of New Beginnings, designed for those of us more seasoned, I'll say, with informative talk on everything from health, finance, local and regional news, volunteerism, spirituality, and even a bit of humor tossed in. So if you're proud to be a more seasoned listener, tune in to New Beginnings Sunday afternoons at 1 right here on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, AM 950.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. A few little bits of housekeeping first and foremost. I first want to talk about what some people have been concerned about. Yes, there are some ads in our news that are atrocious Newsmax ads. Yeah, we do not have any control over those. Those come from our satellite. We control, and just how radio works. If you have a news at the top of the hour, usually there are some commercials that come with that news. That's just part of the deal. If you take the news, you take the commercials. We have the ability to request certain ads do not air on the station, but generally that's after they don't, they're supposed to run this stuff past us. They occasionally don't, I think by design. And needless to say, we've had more than a few people upset because there are some Newsmax ads that are acting like Donald Trump is some sort of grand victor here. And yeah, he's horrible, FYI, as you know, it's breaking news. But yeah, he's a pretty bad guy. And so, yeah, it's, this is just, I want to give you a heads up. We're aware of this. We're getting in touch with the news guys. We're trying to get this all set up to where it is, something that we can get taken down and not aired on the station, because we agree with you. We do not feel as if there's a need to put stuff like that on our airwaves. So we'll see how that goes. But just FYI, we are aware of that, and we're trying to deal with that as we go here as well. We also do want to mention as well, I've got more tickets to give away to Brave New Workshop. They have got, of course, their fun little holiday show that's running through January at the Brave New Workshop. I believe, and let me just, I want to make sure I check this here. These are for the 4:30 p.m. show on Saturday. I got a pair of tickets right now to go to Brave New Workshop on Saturday. And yeah, why not? If you are, let's see, caller number 5. Let's do caller number 5 right now. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you'll get a pair of tickets to go Brave New Workshop on Saturday for their holiday show that they got going on out there. Good luck. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. So I'm going to read this verbatim. I mean, this is kind of, this is sometimes when news gets crazy, man, it's what it is. When I heard Brad Tapke, which we'll have that interview available on StreamYard here, the same with Representative Long from yesterday. We'll have Brad Tapke's interview up there. He just mentioned that apparently this fraudulent House has basically said the state taxpayer dollars are going to fund their attempt to overthrow the state constitution. Today, a panel of House Republican lawmakers acting as an illegitimately appointed House Rules and Legislative Administration Committee attempted to hire 3 lawyers from the Cross Cattle law firm to represent Lisa DeMuth impending litigation regarding the organization of the House Representative Harry Niska is a partner in the firm. The action creates a significant conflict of interest. Damn right it does. So basically, they voted today. You want to know what the Republicans are all about? They voted today to basically grab a bunch of taxpayer dollars and give it to Niska's lawyer buddies to defend him in their attempt to overturn the state constitution. And I don't know if there's any kind of restrictions on this, or are they just saying $1 million to each one of them? What are you doing here? Jamie Long blasted that Minnesotans should be outraged that Representative Niska is using an illegitimate power grab to enrich himself with taxpayer dollars. It's bad enough that Republicans are threatening to unseat a duly elected representative and have conducted an unlawful sham organization in the House. The House GOP should immediately stop any taxpayer dollars going to pay for private counsel to defend their illegitimate conduct, let alone taxpayer dollars to pad the pockets of Representative Niska. In an apparent effort to create distance from the action, Niska appointed an acting chair to preside over the meeting and stated he was not participating in the resolution. But, and I'm going to add this next part, my guess is what happened next was, but wink, 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 wink. There's a few law firms in the state. You basically having your buddies out there. Come on, man. This stinks. This is you. You created a fraudulent House in a coup attempt to overthrow the Constitution, and one of the first things you do is say, we want some of that sweet, sweet taxpayer dollars to my personal law firm. Wow. Niska is the one who called the meeting, brought the proposal. So as he says, I'm not participating. He called the meeting. He brought the proposal. It's no secret who's responsible for making these decisions. The outcry from Republicans and the press of Democrats would be deafening. Yeah, and I want to make sure we stop right there. This just broke. I am going to be very interested to see how this is covered. Because if a Democrat tried something this brazen, every news outlet would be crooked Dems try to steal from taxpayers. Will they even cover this? Because this is brazen AF, man. This is brazen AF. The House DFL is, by the way, paying for their legal representation in the petition, not the taxpayer dollars, which once again goes back to my comment. Considering the fiscal irresponsibility of the Republicans, I know why they need the taxpayers to basically flip the bill for them. But to pay your own law firm out of state coffers, wow. Wow. Frankly, it's this. Stuff like this is going to force the Minnesota Supreme Court's hand that they have to rule on this sooner rather than later. Because right now, I mean, is Niska running to the state treasury with a wheelbarrow right now to fill it up with dollars and run back to his law firm? I don't know. I don't know how any of this works. Brett, I mean, this is pure speculation. Pure speculation. Is that how it happens? Is he's going to run up with a wheelbarrow to the state treasury, fill it full of cash, and run back to his office? Is that how it works?
Sounds like a heist.
That's by the way, did we get a winner on those tickets there?
That we did. We had Ken from Minneapolis winning.
Ken from Minneapolis. Congratulations. You are going to Brave New Workshop on Saturday. By the way, I got another pair to give away in just a little bit. Listen for your chance to win tickets to go see the Brave New Workshop. Let's take a break. I got more breaking news on this. This from the governor's office, who apparently the Republicans' fraudulent House tried to send a delegation over to his office, and it didn't go well. We'll talk more about that in a second. 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunesh, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Blake update us with the latest news from Turtle Island. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weekdays at 5 p.m. or watch the show on Native Roots Radio social media accounts. Ho-wah!
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
You may not think of it, but winter is a great time to take care of those exterior home projects. This is Chad, owner of AM 950 for Snap Construction. Most people wait until the warmer months for their exterior home projects, but labor costs are actually lowest in the winter. And that's true for the contractor I trust, Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed exterior contractor and insulation contractor in the metro. Are you noticing ice dams on your house, or is your furnace constantly running and you're still not comfortable? In addition to your exterior home projects, winter is also a great time to get your insulation checked with a free energy audit from Snap Construction. The average cost to upgrade your insulation is oftentimes less than a new furnace. Plus, there are rebates available from your energy provider when you upgrade your insulation. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. So don't wait for prices to rise in the warmer months. Get a free estimate now by calling 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or go to snapconstruction.com.
I'm Dr. Stefano Sinacropi, an orthopedic spine surgeon and wellness evangelist, hosting the brand new Recharging the Human Battery show on AM 950 radio. My co-host Mandy Dickey and I will delve into various health topics ranging from medicine to nutrition to exercise, emerging technologies, and yes, some way out there stuff. Will provide a balanced view of today's landscape, helping listeners navigate its complexities and hoping to change the way you think about your health. Recharging the Human Battery airs Saturdays at 11 a.m.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 28. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 25. And Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 33. Nightingale offers a warm, inviting atmosphere with a full menu of American classics like the famous Nightingale Burger and Fries, Ginger Tamari Chicken Wings, and Duck Pastrami Reuben. They're open daily from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with a full menu available until midnight. Takeout orders also are welcome. Learn more at nightingalempls.com.
Let's have some fun, this beat is sick. I wanna take a ride on your disco stick. Let's have some fun.
So
this
already
beat is
a
sick.
pretty busy day here on this show. Brad Tabke in to talk about him winning his seat and the Republicans' efforts to, illegally throw him out of his seat. Well, I shouldn't say illegally. I think there's a process for them to do it for, but basically their willingness to disenfranchise the voters of 54A just to basically, and once again, they're trying to throw him out after he won his seat, and maybe I'll take some time here in a little bit to go back and talk about the guy they want to keep in there, and the issues that he's got, because they're not good. On top of that, we just heard initially from Representative Tabke, but now I just read the press release about how the Republicans created in their fake house, where they really don't have the rules. They basically said, we're going to take a bunch of taxpayer dollars and put it into the law firm of Representative Niska to defend us against the Supreme Court rulings here, which is so unethical and such a grift. I can't believe they would try that. Now, I will say, if you're wondering a little bit about some of the responses that have come on out, we haven't really talked about the governor, who this is the press release. This is from Brianna Biersbach. She posted this on social media. Governor Walz today released the following statement on the first day of the 2025 legislative session. As much as House Republicans may want to govern as a single party, the law is the law and the House is not in session. House Republicans need to assure Minnesotans they won't overturn an election or take power voters didn't give them. Once that common sense commitment is made, the important work that the House has in front of them can move forward. On top of that, the Republicans tried to do something which is kind of a ceremonial thing, and it didn't go too well for them today. This from Callahan over at the Minnesota Post. A brief vignette of the Minnesota State Capitol Wednesday demonstrated nothing is routine this year. Usually, as part of opening ceremonies, the House and Senate appoint special committees to inform the other chamber and inform the governor that they are organized, ready to conduct business, and to open and receive messages. It is usually a fun, sometimes silly meeting in which the governor or his representative meets with the committee and exchanges pleasantries and attempts at humor. Then they leave and report back to the chambers. Not this year. After being appointed by visiting the governor by the fraudulent Republican House, Bill Bakeberg, Max Reimer, John Kosnick, and Paul Anderson descended the stairs to the governor's first floor office, were greeted by Deputy Chief of Staff Leah Montgomery. After introductions and handshakes, Kosnick delivered the message that the House was ready to work. The governor is not prepared to accept any formal communications from the House that is not constitutionally organized, Montgomery said, citing the Secretary of State's ruling on Tuesday that because only 67 members were in the House and the quorum requires 68 members, the lack of a quorum meant no further action could be taken. The House GOP moved ahead despite that ruling, arguing Simon has no authority to tell the House how to act. Actually, he has the authority to tell the House how to act. That's in the Constitution. There's a difference of opinion at this point, but we'll get it sorted out, Kosnick said, and his way back to the report to the House. As far as I'm concerned, the House is duly organized. Funny story, it's not. It is not. And so, yeah, nice of the governor to smack him back and say, you're not organized right now. And once again, if you read Steve Simon's letter about what constitutes a quorum in the Constitution, it's pretty clear it needs to be 68 seats. The Republicans, Jamie Long said it, Brad Tabke said it, what is your end game here? The Supreme Court is easily going to find against you. So then you're going to be back, and the Democrats are more than willing. You can either power share and get work started, or you can basically, wait it out, wait till it's 67, and let the real fight begin. But you can't pass anything without 68 votes. You have to have 68 votes to pass anything in the Minnesota House, which means one Democrat has to come with you. And once again, I said this a month and a half ago. I guarantee you Republicans are reaching out to any moderate Dem and saying, you really going to be with those Twin Cities liberal progressives, or are you going to be with us on our side? And it is hard to comprehend how they are in this situation and what their end game is. I've got friends in Shakopee. I've got actually Republican friends in Shakopee who have basically told me, they're not very happy with what's going on right now. So I know you think you can pour $1 million into that district and win. You basically have to overcome the fact that you are the villain. And, it's like, I guess you can be like the rat catcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's like candy and sweets. But it ain't going to fly, dude. It ain't going to fly. And then, like I said, you think that, think anyone else is going to recognize you? You're a clown car brigade. Republicans, you are an embarrassment. You're a clown car. You're going to spend all this money. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to walk out? Are you going to board up the doors of the House and take up residence there and say, we're never going to let those people in because we're the real people in charge? You won half the votes, you idiots. You act like you have a 95-seat majority there. You don't have squat. And your stupidity, this is, I think, what we really have to accept is that this is really a example of how bad the Republican Party has become, how absolutely devoid of any kind of reality they have become. And they saw this. They saw that the one House member had to resign, and they couldn't help themselves. You have Walter Hudson, who's the biggest waste of space I've seen in a long time, immediately starting to mock them. And they're saying, we're not going to power share. And you're doing all this stuff. Like everyone thought you're that person at the office no one likes. And yet you have convinced yourself you're the most popular person there. And now all of a sudden you're realizing, maybe I'm not nearly as popular as I think I am. And yet here you are. And it should be noted once again. And by the way, I should mention one other thing I wanted to mention here as far as breaking news. House Republicans continue to do business without any Democrats present on Wednesday, holding another floor session. In some committee meetings, they've argued that 67 members constitute a quorum, which that is not a quorum, and that is for sure. There is one other thing I wanted to kind of get to here, and I want to, because the .set thing, you cannot ignore the .set thing, because the Republicans are saying on one side that they are not going to recognize the Shakopee seat, but on the other side of it, they can't deny the fact that this guy is that this is a part of their House caucus. Dotseth the Kettle Ritter. This is from the I think this is the Minnesota Reformer story on it. Representative Dotseth the Kettle Ritter allegedly mused that he would own slaves if that were allowed today, and called his then stepson Kunta Kinte after the enslaved African character in Roots, according to a 2008 affidavit from the stepson. Dotseth, who was allegedly kicked and punched by the family's 14-year-old, also allegedly kicked and punched the family's 14-year-old dog, according to an affidavit from his then wife. The new details come to light after the Star Tribune reported on parts of the affidavits about a serial domestic violence that led to his 2008 arrest and a year-long order prohibiting Dotseth from contacting his then wife, Penny Dotseth, who now goes by Penny Cowell, and she is barred from using or possessing firearms and only granted supervised visits with their daughter. She filed for divorce in 2007. This is a guy who's got a lot of big problems. This is a guy that has got a lot of big problems. And once again, these sworn affidavits are still out there. He pled guilty to a lesser charge and insists they're false, but they're still out there. And yet, and it should be noted, there's also, I believe, a representative up in Elk River who is former law enforcement, who was there at the scene when he was arrested back then. And he didn't say anything about it. And I can't remember which one that was. Let's see if that's in here still. God, is that in this? I don't know if it was in this story or if it was in the other story. Yeah, that he was. There's another rep that knew of this guy's background and said nothing. They have brought this guy in. He won re-election, which tells you a lot about Republican voters right there. Tells you a lot about Republican voters. He won re-election in his state because, yeah, I'll go with this guy with those sworn affidavits against him. That's on your district, dude. That is a bunch of fools. But they have no problem with him being in the Minnesota House. That guy. But the guy that won the election. Wow. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. Republicans did go back into the House today, and they did that floor session. Of course, obviously, the money grab by Niska seems to have been part of it. They argued that 67 members constitute a quorum. They basically, it's a dog and pony show. And Supreme Court, I understand you generally work a little slower. You're not going to have that luxury this time around. If you read Steve Simon's letter and then go look at the research notes that he put into the letter, it's pretty clear they don't have a quorum. This is nuts. This is nuts, man. And like I said, for the life of me, I cannot figure out what the end game for these Republicans are, because frankly, that is, they're not going to get anything done anyway. So the only thing I can think about is they are so desperate to create social media content for their Truth Social and their Twitter pages that they are willing to basically burn down the Minnesota House just to try to get that. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's give away one more pair of tickets to go see Big Christmas Energy over at the Brave New Workshop. Big Christmas Energy is running through the month of January. I've got a pair of tickets right now for the Saturday early show at Brave New Workshop. For Saturday, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you'll win those tickets. Good luck. 952-946-6205. More when we come back. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Wednesday.
8 years ago, over 100,000 Minnesotans marched to the state capitol, standing together to defend women's rights.
immigrants' rights, queer rights, and justice for all. Now, as our freedoms face new threats under an incoming administration built on oppression and divisiveness, it's time to stand together again. Join the People's March on January 18th at the Minnesota State Capitol. Together, we'll send a clear and unmistakable message. We will not go back. Building on the legacy of the Women's March Minnesota, this year's event will include a march to the Capitol and a rally. You'll connect with Minnesota organizations working to protect our rights. These organizations need your support, not just now, but over the next 4 years and beyond. The weather may be cold, but our commitment is unbreakable. The stakes are too high to stay silent. Let's show the strength of our voices as we fight for Minnesota's future. Again, that's the People's March on Saturday, January 18th at the state capitol. Details at womensmarchmn.com.
Do you have a vehicle you no longer need? Are you a little cash strapped? Rudy Luther Toyota will pay you for your used vehicle. It's really simple. Head to rudyluthertoyota.com, answer a few simple questions, and Rudy Luther Toyota will get you an instant offer. Then they will set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they will handle all the paperwork and coordinate getting you your check. It's that simple. It's a fast way for you to get rid of the vehicle you no longer need, putting money in your hands. For more information, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Congratulations to Janice in Hopkins winning those tickets. We might have some more tickets tomorrow as well. So Brave New Workshop, once again, big Christmas energy that's running through January over at Brave New Workshop. Go catch that show. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Give you an update here on what is with the Supreme Court. The Minnesota House Democrat Secretary of State Simon appealed to the Supreme Court on Tuesday, asking the High Court to declare that Republicans aren't able to elect a speaker or conduct any other business without 68 members present. The pair of legal filings follow the strange and strangely formal power struggle on Tuesday at the Capitol during the first day of the legislative session, which all 66 House Democrats boycotted in order to prevent the Republicans from having a majority there. Let's see here. They boycotted in order to prevent the Republicans from taking control of the chamber, refusing to seat a Democrat in a contested South Metro election, which is no longer contested. That's decided. As a presiding officer on the first day, Simon called the roll, determined 67 Republicans were present, not enough for a quorum, and told the House they did not have the constitutional authority. The Republicans plowed ahead anyways. Minnesota Constitution says the majority of the House members must be present, but with one seat currently vacant, the two sides are at odds what constitutes a majority. Republicans argue that pending a special election, the vacant House seat, their one seat advantage is enough for a quorum. In a petition to the Supreme Court, House DFL leaders Melissa Hortman, Jamie Long, and Athena Hollins argued Republicans' actions after Simon graveled the meeting closed were unlawful, which I agree with them. They've asked the Supreme Court, which is made up entirely of DFL appointees, to order House Republicans from trying to stop them from trying to conduct any more official business until there are 68 members present. That's a little problem for you. You want to know the consequences in Minnesota of the Republicans unable to win any statewide races. It's the fact that the entire Minnesota Supreme Court is DFL nominees. Now, that doesn't mean that they're in the bag for the DFL. It just means, Steve Simon pointed it out, the Supreme Court's already ruled on this, although with a different text in the Constitution, which basically said that it was for one specific kind of vote, you had to have 2/3 present of the seats present to vote. They tried to argue it was just 2/3 of the people that showed up, and they said no, that it has to be the 2/3. So there's already some precedent here on this. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's see, should I? Well, let me mention this here really quick because, yeah, completely unrelated story. But you know how one of the things that I have talked about a lot on this show is how frustrating it is for me as a Christian, because I am, once again, religious disclaimer. You do or don't do whatever it is you do or don't want to do. I'm a Christian. It has been painful to me to see the Republican Party take over the religion in this country and turn it in from a peaceful, loving, caring, compassionate religion into a religion of hate and bigotry. And that is just disappointing, because it's a you wonder why fewer and fewer people want to go to church. It's because when you walk in there and you say, here's all the people you have to hate. And then when they get called out on it, they say, oh, well, we don't hate anybody. No, you kind of hate a lot of people. Needless to say, there is a church in Oakdale that has some explaining to do, because I don't think their explanation is good enough. Leaders at the Transfiguration Catholic Church in Oakdale have apologized after a message, drag queen free since 1959, was displayed on the church's electronic sign last week. Wow. The Pioneer Press obtained a photo of the sign, first reported on the controversy. Transfiguration leadership said the message was posted the evening of Friday, January 10th, and made reference to a specific demographic of people in a way that fails to adequately account for the Catholic Church's teachings on the dignity of human persons. The same Catholic Church, and once again, if you don't know the story, I went to a Catholic church for many, many years, and we left when they basically said, we're going to stop Joe Biden from having communion. Joe Biden is evil. Ah! Yeah, and trust me, once again, and the first thing people say, Matt, you left after that, but you didn't leave after the child sex scandal. I said, trust me, we had discussions after the child sex scandal, but we felt like our church wasn't part of it, the leaders in our church weren't. And so we stayed with it. And because we felt as if that, there was a lot of condemnation from our church specifically, but we finally hit our limit when it says, we're going to tell you who to vote for. And this is the politics that you need to exude. And that was enough for us. So the fact that this is another Catholic church, frankly, not surprised, frankly, by this. In a statement apologizing for the incident, church officials said leadership removed a message immediately upon learning of it and regrets the controversy it has caused and it distracts from the parish's mission to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. We firmly hold that all people are made in the image of God, and this innate dignity is to be respected at all times, even when serious disagreements emerge. The apology reads, it concludes, Transfiguration is resolved to ensure that such an incident does not occur in the future so that nobody ever feels again that our parish and school are unavailable for their spiritual and pastoral care. Once again, I want to read, someone decided to put up on the church flashing light board, drag queen free since 1959. Read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All right. I have. I've read those. You guys are, anyone if you need to point out who did this because we should know, did a priest do this? Was this just a parishioner who got control and felt like they were going to impose their political point of view on this? Because that's the one thing you're not explaining. Was this the leader of the church? Was this a priest in the church? Who did this? Let me make sure, as not necessarily this church, although this church did persecute drag queens in the metro area with this message. For the people that are persecuting drag queens and transgender individuals, if you actually read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Jesus was the one who had gone and specifically sought those people out and preached to them and tell them they were loved and they were welcome. If you're not doing that, you're wrong. Period. You wonder why pews are getting emptier and emptier. The call is coming from within your own house. Native Roots Radio is up next. We are back on a Thursday. Until then, see ya.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though